stand for the invocation. Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Turn off your cell phones.
God, our divine spirit, creator of all that is and ever shall be. We thank thee, our God, for our city workers, our firemen and our police. We ask you to guide our council and bless them, having them make the proper decisions for the highest good of our city. We thank thee for all our blessings. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Hanville, roll.
Mayor Dale Massad.
Here.
Vice Mayor Terrence Rowe.
Here.
Councilwoman Nancy Britton. Please let the record show Councilwoman Nancy Britton is absent. Councilwoman Jenny Sorrell.
Here.
Councilman William Dittmer.
Here.
City Attorney James Matthew.
Here.
City Manager Vincent Lupo.
Here.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes with,
Any problems in it?
no.
Okay.
Fine.
Second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Comments from the general public, Mr. Lord. Reverend Lord.
Evening, Mayor, Council, everybody. Blessings, Leonard Lord. I pastored 8114 Lee O'Kidd Avenue. Sorry I haven't been here. The wife had a hip replacement, and I've kind of been keeping up with the 3-year-old grandson. But they x-rayed today. That went good. But I do want to give a report. Just want to thank you for being a part of helping out in the city. In our benevolence fund, the churches of Somebody Cures in the area, just want to give you an update, if anybody would like this, that hotel rooms, dental, gas, food, utilities, insurance, rent, and bus tickets to help out the community for those in need. We had a total of $12,951.63 together we put back in the community in these areas. January was $60. Let's see, February was $270, March was $1,600, April was $27.60, May was $150, June was $988, July was $134.17. Let's see, August $1,221.23, and September $893.55, and then October was a big one. That was $2,632.91. Then November was $876.35, and during December, around Christmas time, we helped out with $1,348.92. Now that's not counting the Volunteer Way with Food, the ACT Center we work with, Metropolitan, and others. So we just want to let you know we want to continue to help, and by the grace of God, He's given this over in abundance to the benevolence to be able to help. So I know Nancy Britton and others have referred people to us that we've been able to help with drug problems and housing problems, and particularly have really been able to get tickets to get people home when they're out on the street. So thank you all. Also, real quick, we are starting our Seek God for the City. The Lord tells us in Jeremiah that if we'll seek God for the peace of the city, out of the peace of the city, we'll find our peace. So we start tomorrow night. We're praying, I think, on 5 or 6 sites. This 40 days of prayer, we'll be praying to revive the people, wake the people up, transform our communities, to bring people into the understanding of the goodness of God, to reconcile any disputes, and then just praying for God's presence to bring peace and joy and welfare. So Lord bless you, Mayor, Council, all of you. Any way we can help, let us know. It's great to serve, and Lord bless you.
Reverend,
Thank you.
we do appreciate you, believe me. And
Well-
if you ever go into capitalism, I might be a partner.
Oh, is
Pretty
that
good
right?
at
Okay.
Danny Miller.
My name is Danny Miller. I'm the owner of Blue Diamond Towing, address 6520 Industrial Avenue, Suite 5.
Okay.
I recently talked with the chief of police about us.
Can you talk into the can you all hear him?
No, I can't.
Pull that microphone
I'll have
up.
to
There
open
you
it
go.
up. I recently spoke with the chief of police about us being put on Port Richey rotation. And then I found out that we have to have an office in the city limits, which I've looked, there is no property for rent in city limits. Our address is pretty much catty-corner from the city hall right now. So what I'm asking is if this can be amended or changed, so
Okay.
we would be able to be put on to the rotation
You're in the
list.
towing business?
Yes.
Don't we have a max of 6, Jim? And is it full? I guess that would be the first question. Or do we have, I'm
I don't
just
think,
going
that- if you're asking me, I don't think there's a
A
max of
maximum.
6, and I don't think it ever gets full, not to my knowledge.
okay.
I'd have to
But
really check it, but
the, changing the address part would be, or living in the city would be, take.
have to change the ordinance right now, that's
We'd
what
have
the
to change
ordinance rules for.
ordinances? Okay. I'm gonna let Mr., can you hand?
Sure.
Look into, Mr. Lupo will look into that. Will make us have to change ordinances. Really prefer you find a place in the city where,
Well, that's kind of hard, sir.
I understand,
I mean,
I understand.
I,
You keep looking and
well, I've
get.
dealt with the city of Port Richey before, back
Okay.
when Chief Brown was here. And everything that is impounded by Port Richey comes here.
Right.
Anything that's an accident goes to the record company lot. So I don't see why there would be a problem with us being on the rotation
Well,
since we
other
are
than
out
the
of city
ordinance.
limits. I mean, I'm one street out of city limits.
Oh, okay. Let Mr. Luke get in touch with Mr. Lupo, and he will address this, and we'll talk about it in private.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Mr. Miller. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Not too long ago, this community suffered a tragedy, and we had a loss of life despite the valiant efforts of our first responders. And I personally would like to convey the city's feelings to our first responders. They do the best they possibly can to protect us and to protect our city. Not only our property, but our lives. And in recognition of that, I would like to present the following individuals with a commendation. There are quite a few of them because we happen to have quite a few outstanding individuals in our organization. It's going to take a couple of minutes to, and there are quite a few very distinguished individuals. The first person, certificate of appreciation for going above and beyond, is presented to Detective Angel Russo, Port Richey Police Department, City of Port Richey City Manager, for your life-saving efforts concerning the boat fire on January 14, 2018. The same citation presented to Officer Jason Zimmerman. He's also- And the same citation goes to Officer Zane Zebek. The United States has in its service something called the silent service.
Well done.
We have a group of individuals who are far from silent. They are our fire department and our firefighters. And I would like to request First certificate of appreciation that goes to Lieutenant Ray Paulin. Congratulations. The same citation for firefighter Dave Wood.
Congratulations.
Firefighter Tom Quinn, Senior. Seniors first. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thought it was a reprint.
And now firefighter Tom Quinn.
Congratulations.
Firefighter Ken Melton. Firefighter Nick Clark.
Congratulations.
And firefighter Alexander Clark. Denise. Our valiant dispatch service. Denise General. Dispatch. I guess most people understand dispatchers from television, what they do, the pressures that they're under. Our people, I'm talking about our services, our firefighters and our police, truly understand the pressures placed upon these individuals. And the fact that not only are our citizens' lives in their hands, but in many occasions, our firefighters and police officials' lives in their hands. So it's a very special job for very special people, and we're blessed with our dispatch. This goes to Officer Jeff Cox for his.
Congratulations.
And this goes to Captain Mike Cox.
Looking pretty, let's see.
And what makes things run, in
Congratulations.
this instance, this one goes to Chief Gerald Buchanan. There's very little that I can say about these individuals. Except the fact that they were there when they were needed. And that's part of the oath that they gave. And this is a very, very grateful community that just simply wants to say, thank you for being there when we need you.
Sure, absolutely. If council would
Want us
come.
to come down there?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if I can help you do that. Yeah, thank you.
Let's get back to business.
Yeah, I was just 2 minutes ago.
Reverend Sandy Spalding would like to say a word. Break.
Sandra Spalding, 8612 Green Street. Not many of you have lived in the city as long as I have. And I want you to know I've been here through many, many tragic times in the city, many happy times. But it does my heart so good to see the city has finally united and become the city that it is now. All of you, every one of you that work for the city and live in this city and love this city should be very proud, because I am, and I thank God that we are in this direction. I'll leave you with that.
Back to me. Business.
You're back to
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, there are several items of business that I would like to bring to council's attention and to our general public's attention. Very recently, we have been wrestling with an issue out on Pier Road, and we have been talking extensively with our sister city, who we have developed extensive relations and very good relations with. In particular, their city council, their city manager, Debbie Mann, and their police chief. They have an interesting operation that they pursue, and it involves the utilization of their codes people, their police officials, their fire department, and all of their inspectors. And what they do is they go out and they have an operation called, this is their operation, Clean Sheets, where they inspect various motels to ensure that they are into conformity for all of those life safety issues and all of the other issues with respect to sanitary conditions, appearances, all of those things involving minimum housing, the minimum housing standards and overall standards. We will shortly be presenting to council for a workshop, a minimum housing standards, so that council can get involved in a workshop environment to bring forward all of those issues that are paramount to ensuring that this city is clean inside and outside. Associated with that same workshop will be council's first view of a grant program that we spoke about several times here that will afford grants, matching grants up to $1,000 for approximately 50 first applicants. That program will also be reviewed by council during their workshop for input. So the city is moving forward in a very positive direction to ensure that the city looks the way we feel that it should look. We being the city council and the citizens. we have just recently, on a different issue, we've just recently refurbished, you may have seen it if you've been over to the Waterfront Park, all of the walkways of Waterfront Park. So it is more drivable, it is more friendly, it's friendlier for people to get access to protect their cars, and we're working very closely with the different grant agencies to allow different kinds of use for that facility. Associated with that effort is another effort. We are now looking at a new grant and applying for a new grant that could afford this community an additional $200,000 toward the acquisition of special properties that can be utilized by this community. So we are in the process of applying for that grant. It would mean it's a matching grant, 200 from them and 200 from us for very specific purposes. As we get into the grant application itself, I'll be back to council so the council fully understands the direction that it would go in and whether council would like to pursue that grant. And that's basically what I have today.
I wanted you to go a little further into the city manager, Newport Richey, and your talk with her about cleaning the street.
Sure.
Detailing.
We had a very good meeting with city manager Mann. She was very specific about what the problems that her city was facing, similar problems to ours, but they have a different set of standards that we are now beginning to bring to our council to incorporate not only theirs, but those of Pasco County, so that we have an overall approach towards all of the issues concerning housing and housing standards. In my conversation with their city manager, which initially had to do with utilization of water and our lack of purchasing their water, it then branched off into several different branches. Everything on the table, including life safety issues, police cooperation, police fire cooperation, and the issues of adjoining properties. When I say adjoining properties, we have certain sections in our community that abut the city of Newport Richey. And we have certain problems based on their efforts to clean up those sections. So we have a very firm commitment from the city manager that they will move as quickly as possible, and in some cases with our assistance. An example would be our police department having worked with their police department with respect to investigations of incidents in adjoining vacant lots. So that was all part of our conversation. Again, we now have a very cordial and affable working relationship with the city of Newport Richey.
The Operation Clean Sheets?
Operation Clean Sheets.
Is that in conjunction with, particularly with the motel that adjoins?
Every motel in their jurisdiction, starting with the one on Pier Road and the one across 19 and any others in their jurisdiction. Again, we are changing our codes. We are changing our codes. We have a similar situation off of Grand Boulevard that we'll be addressing within that whole code structure. So yes, in particular, all of the motels within their jurisdiction.
Jerry, Chief, I've had some conversations with the citizens, and they ask if you could, around 6 o'clock, just roll somebody through there on Pier Road, particularly by the bus stop and where they throw trash over from that hotel. Yeah, I know we don't have jurisdiction at the hotel, but if we just show presence and kind of train the kids, don't throw your trash out here. And I think in order to do anything with that hotel, we have to physically see the trash coming over, whatever. Is that correct?
You said 6, is that 6 PM or 6 AM?
6 a.m.
6 AM, okay.
Is that correct? Okay. Thank you very much. All right, I will bring that back to council.
Okay?
Any
I'll go ahead.
thoughts?
Congratulations to all those who were honored tonight. You do us a great service, and you make us proud every day. And I can't thank you enough for myself, but I know the citizens that aren't here thank you as well. I know at times you probably feel underappreciated. It's a tough job at times, and sometimes you don't get enough acknowledgement. Tonight, you got some of that acknowledgement. The city thanks you. Its citizens thank you. And God willing, may we never need you to respond to another event like that last one.
Amen.
You put your welfare ahead of the you put the welfare of others ahead of the welfare of yourself. That is a quality that just is amazing. Most people would run from danger, you run toward it. These are special people, they do a special job, and we give you special thanks.
Thank you all.
That's all I have.
Thoughts, comments?
Terry pretty much said it all. Thank you again.
Yes. Whole business? We're not there yet. Anything? Any comments?
No,
Okay. All right, I'll go off then. Question to Bill. When we designed the new docking at Nix Park, that would fix the ramp, and we had talked about having extra mooring places because, you know, Yankees can't drive boats. And they have to drive in circles there waiting for a place in line. We talked about redrawing the moorings and the floating docks. My thought has been the police boat is right in kind of in line of what you might expand, and we have a place in town that I believe if we wanted to ask them, we could put the police lift and accommodate Fish and Wildlife, Coast Guard, maybe Sheriff for quick launch. But what are your thoughts? In your redrawing, is the boat lift in the way of what you would conceive?
To answer that question, no, it's not necessarily in the way, but we certainly can look into it. You know, there are probably some of us that like to get rid of those Yankee boats, but
Well,
we can't do that.
I'm glad to have them here,
Us old
but
Southerners, but
if they have a place to be still
Absolutely.
while waiting in line, is the more.
we will certainly look at.
And I
look
didn't
into
mean
it.
anything for the Yankees in
No,
there.
no, but we will certainly look into it, yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Let's see if I have any other important things, and probably not. Oh, city newsletter. Have we ever offered the council or mayor to write an article in your newsletter? It's not bad, but I think I'm a better writer than you. Now, seriously, is that something that it could be accommodated? Not during an election, of course. You got a problem?
No.
All right.
You know, depending on
Yes.
depending on the content,
I'm sorry.
you know, we'll have to, you know, review the content. We'll have to review the content.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, let's go on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I will motion to approve the consent agenda with discussion on item C.
Okay, I'll let you go right ahead with that. I had some questions myself.
We just would like to be updated and give us more information on what this arbitrator cost settlement was about.
take
Sure.
that. I don't have the answers.
I do. We had a case presented and an arbitrator assigned, and after that arbitration was completed, the arbitration judge made his decree, and after that several-month process, I believe it was almost 2 or 3 months, the arbiter finally made his decision, and it is a legal binding decision. And we then implemented his direction, which is a lawful order, and now must pay our share of the bills related to that arbitration effort. And that's what that is.
Okay, is that winning team pays?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to make something clear. I've heard comments that Mr. Matthews didn't defend us well, and I have to tell you, he wasn't defending us because he was possibly going to be called as a witness. So he had nothing, he could not say anything, although I'm sure he, in the intermediate.
I'd like to say something.
Oh, please.
That's not correct. I didn't represent the city in that. Brian Koji did, union expert. I wasn't representing the city. Anybody that says a comment like that is telling a lie.
No, I said, there
Anybody
was a
that thinks-
thought, there was a
No,
thought.
that thought is a lie. I've never represented us in that action.
I understand that.
Whoever says it, that's a wrongful action.
Let's get this diplomatic.
I got
Jim.
I've heard it too.
The point is, there was comments that he didn't say much because he's a city attorney. He could not because he was not representing us. And I was just defending you.
I understand that. I just wanted to be heard by the person that said it.
I would like to make a very simple statement. Based on our presentation, recommendations from our specialized lawyer, Mr. Brian Koji, we went forward, we went before a judge adjudicated the case. We defended it to the best of our ability. We followed every known law that we knew of. The arbitrator is exactly that, a judge, and makes a decision, and we're bound by that decision. And that's where we're at.
I'm not sure, were we, is that our bill for the entire thing, or do we split it?
No, sir, that's our bill.
That's, okay, all right. So that's the answer to that, which launches us into the next point of business. Everything else, what'd you say, FRS? For retirement, something?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
federal
it's retirement.
federal retirement system. That's an
Okay.
obligation. Florida
Okay.
retirement system, sorry.
Vice Mayor, you, okay? Any comments? Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, we don't have a second, but I'll second.
Oh, we didn't have? I thought we, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Well,
So I keep you guys around to keep me, my brain working. Okay, motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Passes unanimously. Launching us into negotiating team and union considerations, which I'm very disappointed. I think I left Fran a sweet message on Sunday. All we got was negotiating team and union considerations, page 9. Okay, that's pretty good, except for, that's all we got. I don't have they recommend me voting for it, but I don't have it. So, we did get it finally,
Okay.
and I did almost get through it, but I have a very big problem. I have a lot of big problems with it.
The reason that it was not distributed with the rest of the information was very simple. We were waiting for the two unions to conduct a required vote that they had. So we could not, in good faith, add the contracts for your approval, your subsequent signature, actually, because they did not have their vote at that time. We then subsequently, as quickly as we could, had it delivered to the council via our police department. That negotiations were done in good faith by our negotiating team and the two unions, And we had a conclusion, and we bring it to council, and our negotiating team can certainly speak to the issues if you so choose.
I so choose. First thing I thought, and this is just a personal, in the contracts, leave the cell phones, at least in the city. This is, what do you got? How many we got here? That's the police and this. I think cell phones ought to be left in the cars for utilities, et cetera. The other problems I have, and I'd like an answer to, if you get, Aaron, if you get your mathematics out, all of when, and I love you guys, believe me, you're not gonna be my buddies after this, and please don't shoot me. At the end of the day, whether we're talking about public works or police department, et cetera, my first objection is in the bargaining or the negotiating team. It's strange that we have negotiators that are workers and nobody that's on the side. The guys that pay this are sitting out here paying taxes. So I don't know that it's appropriate, but I think it should be looked at that if I was getting paid, I'd love to be negotiating that. And I think that the majority of the taxpayers would like to have someone from the city or from the council at that. Not that I don't trust you all. Aaron, what I would like to know is taking a mid-level employee, whether it be police, other, there's 10 paid vacations. If you don't get if you fall on the Friday before Saturday, it goes back to the Friday, and if it falls on Sunday, it goes up to Monday, and you get paid for that. I would like to know, with all those, if they hit on, they happen to hit on all 10 or 8 of the days. When somebody takes, well, this is another subject, but that's one thing. So we're paying for 10 paid holidays for 55 employees and 3 shifts, so probably 110 salaries. Are there 3 shifts a day? It depends on what department. 2 in the police, 3 in others, whatever. What is it? You tell me what's the number.
I'll have to get it together. I don't have that off the top
I know
of my
you
head.
won't, and I'm giving you plenty of time. Let me see what my notes say here. If anybody wants to pop in, Vice Mayor or Council.
Well, one thing I would direct our city manager to do is, in cases like this, a note along with this item would have been nice, that we knew that this was coming at a later date. We didn't have much time with it. This is something that I think in due diligence we need to spend more time with. It is something that is important to our staff, and it is important to our citizens that support our police and fire department to know what they're paying for. There should have been a note in there notifying us that there was a holdup on the documents and they would be there as soon as possible. We don't get that. And it's not the first time this kind of thing has happened. I don't really know what the problem is, but I would like to see it fixed. I don't like getting minimal amounts of information. I'd rather have more information so I can make a better and more conscious decision when I have to make them. The other thing I would talk about, Mayor, I know you're concerned about these 10 paid holidays and other things that are in this contract. However, other cities have very similar contracts. And I don't want to lose good people to other cities because they had a better offer. And it would also behoove us to have some analysis along with this so that we can see what other cities are offering, so that we know where we stand, so that if you have a concern about 10 paid holidays, you'll look at other cities and say, well, they're doing the same thing and we'll lose our help. And this is an argument I've had for years with people, and losing good help because they're short-sighted. I believe in taking very good care of your staff. They're part of your, they are your team, they're part of your working family, and so they're here to earn money to support their families. I've said this before, they're not here for their health. If they weren't doing a good job, they wouldn't be here. I would like to see a little more information so that when these arguments come up from not only the mayor or council, the citizens out there bring these items to me and I don't have answers. And we really need to do a little, or I should say a lot more, work on this so that we have those answers, that we can present them right here and be very transparent about what is going on, why we're making these decisions, and that they're made wisely. So I would have liked to see at least a note in here letting us know why we didn't get those packets. That would have helped some, because when I see something like this, it looks like somebody's just doing sloppy work. And I know better, so.
Okay, I'll keep on my tirade.
Well, no, I was just gonna go over what Terry had to say too. Now, we did sit down and discuss these items that we went through. We discussed it in council, we made some agreements. As far as I know, the team is just following up
Correct.
on what we agreed upon in our earlier meetings. I agree that it would have been nice that these read terribly anyway, but we did come to a conclusion, I felt. We voted on it as far as I'm concerned, and they would have proceeded on our behalf.
The problem here is that those meetings were secret. They weren't open to the public. When we come to this point, citizens are brought up to speed on what we've been doing behind closed doors. They have every right to know why we made those decisions. That's some of the stuff I think should be in here, is those discussions should, I know in other meetings, they used to have someone here, a court reporter, doing some notes, and as soon as those agreements were settled on, those notes became public. What I'm saying here is something like this, the public deserves to know why we went the way we did, why we made those decisions, what questions were asked. There's some of these things I think should be along with the packet, not just the contract itself.
And
If I might,
not yet.
okay.
I want to, and we didn't, what I remember we said was, we would like to renegotiate this contract so that it allows us to give merit raises as opposed to,
No.
we all.
That's
No?
not accurate.
Well, I'll be bull.
No, we talked that we would bring that up at a separate, as far as I remember, a
Yes.
separate meeting.
Are we gonna not renegotiate?
No, at the next one. These people were 3 years behind on a lot of this stuff. We went ahead and did what we did in the best interest of our staff. And we put that on the table as far as I was concerned for the next time we have to rebargain.
So we're kicking the can down the road for a year?
Well, no, that's not the way it was. We had a format to go by. At the end of that meeting, we brought that up. That was not the time to throw it into the mix. I feel.
Okay, well, I didn't agree, so, go ahead.
Yeah, I was under the impression, and I asked the city manager after that meeting before Christmas if we could get that money in their checks immediately so they'd have it for Christmas. I was quite upset when I found out that it has gone this long, and they still don't have their raises. But that is due process, I know.
Yeah, I have to address that, Mr. Vice Mayor. You brought that question up, and you were 100% correct in bringing that question up, because that was something that I dearly wanted to have accomplished. And I had the authority from this council to move forward on a split vote. I moved forward. I could not release the funds, I can't even release them as of right now until this council accepts what they agree to. And that's why I sent you a separate email explaining exactly what occurred, and that was, we had to wait until those union members voted to accept our offer to them, this council's offer to them. The documents that you have in front of you are public documents. As of this point, they will be public documents. Anyone can have a copy of them, anyone can read them. They are simply the negotiation, the agreements between the two unions and this community. We took your recommendations that you had given us, and our negotiating team simply went and met with the two unions, worked out the differences with the unions until it was acceptable to both parties. Then they delivered those ideas to the individual union members to vote. And once they approved it, then we could present it to you. Up until their approval, we could not present anything to you because we might have gone to further negotiations. And it was at that point in time that their raises are in abatement. But the second that this council approves, they get it retroactive to October 1st.
Okay, well, my recollection again was that we were gonna give a 3% raise and then we were gonna renegotiate so we could give raises to the better employees and have a level thing. If you excel, you get more money. If
That's
you
the
don't,
system that I promised to bring to council in our future negotiations and the future budget. Once we get that approved by council, then this kind of a discussion will not occur. We simply will set a range that you will approve at budget time, and it will be based on a merit system that is allowed by both unions.
Okay, well, I don't understand why if we were gonna renegotiate something like that, we didn't do it in this. But let me go on. What I would like to have. When somebody takes 8 hours off or a shift off, and particularly a union representative, I don't know why we're paying a union representative to take time off in an adversarial position for the taxpayers to pay. That makes no sense. When he takes that 8 hours off, we pay him, and somebody picks up 8 hours overtime, eh?
Not
Only way I could do that math. So, maybe you and I are gonna have to get together and figure out. If there's 10 holidays and X amount of sick days and X amount of personal days, when they take that, that becomes overtime. So, maybe in most of the instances, there's a lot of overtime in every position in every department. And I think we have to think about this before we go, oh, we haven't had a raise. Well, the United States has got a $20 trillion debt now. If we weren't printing the money, we would have gone bankrupt like South America did. So all I can say is I'm very disappointed that we did not renegotiate. I don't know if we changed this thing. Show me what changed. It doesn't tell me. There's not a scratch out change.
There is.
Yeah, there is.
There
There
is.
is on this one. There's not on this one.
There's only a few on the other
They're
one.
in there.
They're there.
Because there wasn't
Be-
much done, huh? And I got more underlined.
There's just a few on that other one.
I'm looking at it.
There is
This is added.
There's like 9 or 10 on the other one.
Okay. Well, disappointed, and I will let it go if there. Any other comments?
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement we made with our two unions.
I'll end this agony for you, Mayor. I'll second.
All in favor, wait, public? No one? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay. Okay, we're going to number 3, consideration of, I haven't got off my soapbox yet, Terry, so. 3, consideration of engineering proposal for repair Washington Street, pages 10 to 16. Okay, I'll take this one. Agenda item number 3, consideration of engineering proposal to repair Washington Street. This is Florida Design Services. This is for the public, a discussion for a task order to approve a proposed, to approve Florida Design Consultants to, what is this?
It's a scope
where are
of
we going?
services. It's their Washington Street pavement issues.
Okay, so we're gonna redo Washington Street.
There are several issues with respect to Washington Street, including major depressions that become life safety issues,
Right.
and that's what this addresses.
Okay, and that's what this addresses, and I understand that, and I'm all for no problems with that. Now, this group, whatever they're, Florida Design Service, here's what they're gonna do, council. They're gonna obtain topographical data that's readily available. They say there's 3 known places. They're gonna get a contract with it. They're gonna subcontract to another place. Okay, so far I don't know what they've done. They're gonna call State One for locating utility services. I think everybody can do that free. Visually classify soil samples, and I don't know how much that could cost, but collect a ground, they estimate a normal wet season high water level. 5 asphalt cores, that's the first thing that we've got that I can say would cost anything. Written report supervised by an engineer, not by an engineer. Then they're going to submit a permit for us, which I'm sure that Mrs. Jocelyn could do. They will attend a pre-bid conference. They're gonna prepare, and this is the one I love, they're gonna prepare an evaluation of the apparent low bidder. I think any of you out there can figure out the low bidder. And then they're gonna attend a pre-construction conference. Visits are to provide limited construction observation, which they will not be responsible for anything about it. Attend a final inspection and provide a review of the permitting processes. The city will contact directly with the materials testing firm, et cetera. The city will pay for the other whatever they wanted. And they're gonna do all that for $33,500. $33,900. What do we need them for? We can in-house get this. We have engineers. We can call, I would like an X-ray. They're gonna X-ray the street on the depressions that are visually located. Why can we not do this? For $33,000, that's a full employee salary in many cases. We can do that.
I wish that we could do that, Mayor, but we actually can't do that.
What is it that we can't do that they're doing?
Just about everything that you outlined.
Okay,
This,
let's just
th-
go over
there
that.
is, you're dealing with the potential of sinkholes on a major thoroughfare.
All I'm saying, Vince, I'm with you. We don't want that. Can we obtain topographical data? Yeah. Can we look at it where they are? Yeah. Can we call for an X-ray? Yes. Can we call a geotechnical person to survey that? Yes. These costs are not included. Oh, well, what did you do? Review readily available published topographical areas. Can we, and soil information? Yes, we can do. I can do that. Subcontract ground penetrating radar. I can do that. I promise you. I can call, I can use a telephone. Performing. These are borings. These are not, that's cheap. Site soil stratigraphy at the boring location. They will identify them. They're gonna call another company. So we're getting $33,900 for a secretary. That's how I look at it, guys. Bill, you could calm me down if you want.
Mayor, you're sounding like a doctor. I am probably the highest qualified person in this city to do this,
Absolutely,
and
I
I'll
agree.
guarantee you, I'm not gonna do it.
You're not gonna do it.
There
but
is
you
no
can
way
win.
I would go out there and do these engineering services for this, no matter what the costs are. You're talking
they're
about
not
the
doing the
possibility of
engineering.
sinkholes there.
They're calling someone for their services.
There, that's not how it works. And you well
I
know that.
called for mine, when I thought I had a sinkhole, I called, I got a radiographic engineer. All right, anybody else have anything to say?
Have we used these people before?
I've never heard
Yes,
of them.
absolutely,
right?
certainly.
Okay, I thought, I recognized the name, but I just couldn't.
And they are certified, and they are legally liable for every product that they produce. And you just can't, we can't, you heard an expert, we can't do that legally.
I understand what the mayor's trying to say. He's saying it's like a pass-through.
Listen, exactly.
They
The
will,
concept-
they will in fact sub some sections out, but they are responsible for that work
Right,
product.
I understand that. but I
They shall
understand
not be
he's trying-
responsible for construction means, methods, techniques, sequences, procedures, for safety precautions, programs in connection with the work, shall not be responsible for the contractor's failure to carry out the work in accordance. What are they doing? I can call a contractor. We can call a contract. This is $33,900. May be a pittance of our budget, but these add up. And while I don't know if you want to vote on this one, I guess we have to first. Staff recommends approval. Do I have a motion?
My only question is, we picked Florida Design Consultants, how did,
Do we have any
I
other bids?
imagine they're on our preferred consultant
Yes,
list?
absolutely.
Okay, are there any others there we can get quotes from?
We certainly can. We generally use Florida Design Consultants for all of our street paving work, but we can certainly look at other engineering firms and see if they can provide a comparable or different proposal.
I think we should go shopping.
I think we should go shopping too, and I would particularly like to go shopping for someone that does the work. Because all we have, when you get this thing, we subcontracted them, and there's a problem. Well, we just subcontracted. Well, we did what they told us. We got nobody to go. I want somebody that does it all. If somebody paves, they should be able to do borings, and they should be able to do topographical things, and they should be able to call it for radiographic surveys. And I really don't see what they're doing. So,
What bothers me the most is what I think the mayor pointed out here is this disclaimer.
That
They're
they
not
don't-
responsible for anything, so.
No.
We're paying a lot of money for some engineering services, if something goes haywire, gee.
They're not
Let
doing
me
them.
let me try and help you with that one paragraph that you have a problem with. That paragraph refers to the construction individuals who are going to do the actual physical work. They are going to do all of the analysis, do all of the plans, but they are not going to do the actual work. That work will be inspected, and those inspections are responsible. They can't be responsible for the contractor's specific work, and that's exactly what it's saying here.
Why don't we get somebody that can be responsible for their own work? I guarantee you, Mr. Muse can design a sidewalk. I'll bet you I can design a sidewalk.
I don't think this is the sidewalk. This is the
No,
sinkhole.
What is
This
this?
is-
Oh, this is the street.
This is the road.
This whole
Yeah.
street.
How much design is there? The street gets this design, depending, if there's a sinkhole, I guess we're gonna pour a lot of cement in it. But other than that, it's like these piers, we get the huge engineering proposals, it's 10 foot, 10 foot, 10 foot, the same thing.
Mayor, that's a simplistic answer to a very difficult problem.
Well, I talk like a doctor.
Thank you.
All right, I'd say it's up to the council, I don't make motions.
I cannot guarantee it if we go out that the bid won't, that another group won't come in higher.
Well, let 'em
And I
come
don't
in
know
higher.
what, and I don't know what can transpire between now and then. It's certainly a council's decision. We met with this engineer, we went over all of the aspects of this function. We recommend that you approve it. We will certainly do whatever you tell us to do. You want us to go out and solicit some additional engineering firm, certainly we'll do that.
Well, based
Well,
upon
we've got
similar
plenty.
projects that we've done in the city in the past, does this fall in line price-wise for our engineering
Yes,
costs?
absolutely.
Okay, so, what Mayor's gonna say, well, just, we
Say
paid too
engineer
much the
step
first
stool,
time.
it's 30,000. But I don't care. I want the guy that's engineering it to build it.
I don't know if there's that many companies that have that soup to nuts type of,
You don't get
Go
that
ahead.
anymore,
Yeah.
Doc.
You know I listen to you.
Is this on, please?
Go ahead.
The people who do the engineering services do not build the project. They never do. There is no one who does. There may be some consulting firms who do the engineering and the construction, but that is very rare. There are two separate processes. One is the engineering firm does the drawings to put out for bids, so that then the contractors who build the project will then go build it.
Well,
It's a two-step process.
Bill,
minimum
I
two-step.
do understand what you're saying to an extent, but when they have to fill 2 pages up with crap that they're doing nothing to be up front, oh, they're gonna attend a final inspection, they're gonna attend a re-inspection, they're gonna receive and review as built.
Well, I ask you to submit a proposal.
I'm gonna
then.
do this. Next surgery, I'm not gonna be doing any.
No,
We're
I
gonna
don't wanna hear
have
about
one
your
doctor
surgery.
to open them, the next one to do, the
I'm not
next
gonna
one to
tell-
close them.
You know you and my closeness with these hospitals and doctors and all, that's why I kid you about it. But no, I suggest you do this then. Why don't you submit a proposal?
Can I do that?
Put it together.
I will. I'll do that.
Okay.
All right, do you want to shop or not? I'm just trying to save enough
How
money
many other,
to get through next year.
I mean, Florida Design is one. Do you have an idea how many others we have? I mean,
I think we have about 10 engineers on the list, but
Yeah.
of different specialties. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head
Yeah.
how many.
Florida,
We have this list
Florida
in front,
Engineering
but-
is a firm that we have that does our services now. That's why we thought it was simplistic to go to them. I will be stunned professionally if there's anyone cheaper. I mean, they were here, they're in-house, they were doing, what they do is we
I'm not seeing
require
that.
all of our drawings, building permit drawings be reviewed by an engineering firm. That's part of the process. We have to do that.
But they're not
And they're the
doing
ones
that.
who are doing it.
I don't see they're doing that.
I'm sorry, I'm missing your point. What?
You said we want a firm that reviews it. They're not doing any of that.
No, sir. I
I'm
said
sorry, what did I
This
misunderstand?
firm reviews our drawings that are submitted for a building permit when they do. The building development process requires an engineer to review the drawings.
And that's one of the
There's
reasons
two
why
different
we
things.
have,
It's apples and
we have a
oranges.
reduced price here.
That's correct. This is basically, if
I'm
you
losing-
will,
I'm
an
lost.
in-house firm. They work for us to begin with, and then we ask them out of convenience because of their engineering capabilities to submit us a process, because we thought two things. One, it'd expedite the project, and the second one is they would be as reasonable or more reasonable than anyone else.
Do you really think that there's nobody that paves roads that has an engineer on staff?
Oh, of course, plenty of people have engineers on staff, that's not the point, but there are very, very few firms who will do the drawings and go build the building, the road. They just don't do that. I don't know why.
If any entrepreneurs are listening, you might want to go in that business. May I just go over the next one, and I'll get all my irritations out, and then you can decide what you want to
you're
do?
upset
Because
about 33 for a road, 45 for a sidewalk's gonna kill you.
with 33,000 for them to call a few people and get them to do the work, and then we've got, that's same people, for a sidewalk, once again, $45,700. They're gonna obtain topographical data. Now, I bet you I can design a sidewalk. Bill, I know you like to get out of here. But I can get on the internet and figure out how to design a sidewalk.
I could do an appendectomy too.
Okay, you go what? What is that?
You can do an appendectomy too.
I bet you can. I can show you. It's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
Okay, so they're gonna be designed to the latest ADA. It's great. Coordinations and meetings. This is what they're gonna do, public. They're gonna coordinate and meet with the FDOT, and if this connection will be successful, then they go forward. They're gonna prepare a probable cause. Was that gonna help us? If they don't bid within that, I don't know. They're gonna assist us in bidding. I don't think they can do that any better than Vince Lupo can. Evaluates the apparent low bidder. Now, really, this is a group that they gotta fluff it up because they have nothing to say. Evaluate the low bidder. Can you do that, Terry? You think you could? If you really stretched it? They can't be responsible for everything. They're gonna attend the final inspection, attend the final reinspection, meet and coordinate a project. You guys do what you want. There's 2 of them in a row. I wanna have enough money to go through the next year. So let's have, the first one is Washington Street. What is council's thoughts or motions or direction?
Based on the professional opinion of Mr. Muse, I understand, and our staff who does this on a regular basis, I motion to approve the engineering design work.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any thoughts? Said this public, anyone to talk?
Claudia Smith, 7335 Candlelight Court. Y'all are really comical tonight. It's been fun, though.
I've been hot.
And I respect the fact that you're trying to save us money, but all you have to do is come live in Candlelight Court and go down Washington 2 and 3 times a day, and you will change your mind.
No, I
That-
won't, because
that
I've been
street
pushing
is
for 2
so
years and finally
dangerous.
got what you want. I know that problem and I agree with it.
Awful. So not only do we have all the little bumps down Orange Grove, then we go this when we go down Washington.
Well aware of it.
I mean, we're the red-headed stepchildren. I say it every time. We are, and that's what we
Claudia,
feel like right now.
Let me tell you something. I have
Good.
pushed Mr. Lupo and Mr. Lupo has performed gallantly.
He's done wonderful.
Right. But that doesn't mean we have to spend more money to do wonderful.
I agree with that, but all I'm saying is, come live in my subdivision, go
Why?
through Orange Grove every day, multiple times.
I would kill
And
myself.
then down Washington, and it's awful.
Absolutely
That's all I'm saying.
understand.
Thank
I just
you.
want to do it in a
Thank you.
reasonable time,
Yeah, it's
reasonable monetary.
It's
front.
not that I don't want to do it. It definitely was on our project list some time back, and it needs to be done, and Orange Grove right with it. We could only get the county to move on it.
I would put a gun to my head if I had to go over your road, and that's why I've been pushing. I've gone to the county, I've gone to Mr. Lupo. Mr. Lupo, I think, has got it confirmed. It's not our road, you know that, but he did an excellent job. And I guarantee you, Mr. Lupo can do this.
Yep, because it was in the budget.
Yes,
What was in the budget?
yes.
This was in the budget.
This?
Yep.
Is in the budget,
It's
yes.
in the
So we
budget.
gotta spend it, because then we wouldn't get anything back.
Budget.
We have a motion and a second.
We have motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Reluctantly, aye.
Okay, next one is, we've already gone over it. That was Washington. Now we've got the
This is the
$45,000 sidewalk.
That sounds like
Motion and a second.
sidewalk, jeez.
Motion to approve the consideration of engineering proposal for the new sidewalk installation on River Gulf Road.
One quick question. This is also going to help tie into the bike and hike trail
Correct.
later on.
Correct.
Right?
I second.
I have no problem with where it's tying into and going. I
I know
have a
your
problem
problem
with
is
the
the
cost.
cost. I understand.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay. Okay, that brings us to some non-contentional things.
Resolution?
Resolution for texting. Do I have a motion? If we aren't on the same page on this one, we'll
Where are
have
we
to
on
go.
that?
No. One more.
No, I'm
No.
sorry, we're at
Minimum
minimum housing standard.
Minimum housing.
Sorry.
Council, if it may. We presented for you, and we'll hand out an additional handout, a crack at our suggested minimum housing standards for the city of Port Richey. They are a compilation of not only our current rules and regulations, but also take into consideration the city of Newport Richey and Pasco County. We tried to meld them as best suits this community. We just present it to you so you can begin to read it and understand it, and then we're going to have a workshop where everyone, including the public, can put in their thoughts and wishes, desires, what they would like to see at that time, and then we can move forward with an actual consolidated, specific program for minimum housing standards for the city of Port Richey. It's something we desperately need to begin to clean up the community. And it'll take in many different considerations because you'll be bringing in some of the ideas to our council during that workshop. And we'll try and set up a workshop. At the same time, we'll be passing out a crack at a grant program designed to help people bring their houses back up to standards. It's a first step this time. The money has already been approved during the budget process, and it will take it up at a future meeting. But it will be generally a matching grant, a maximum of $1,000 from the city towards whatever the individual is going to do, and there'll be specific parameters what is eligible for you to do, for you, the citizens, to do. There'll be approximately 50 grants on a first-come, first-served basis. That also will be worked out during the workshop where council had different ideas on what they would consider for eligibility, not eligibility. That'll all be worked out in the workshop. But you can see now the marriage of the two issues. Produce the minimum housing standards and give individuals who would like to bring their properties back up to standards an opportunity to receive a matching grant to the amount of $1,000. If you spend $5,000, our maximum grant would be $1,000 to you. If you spend $10,000, our end would be $1,000. So it's a matching operation. And with at least this year, if and when this that process gets worked out and the project works out, if it's successful, we'll come back to council in the next budget cycle. Good Lord willing, we have the funds. Council may wish to increase the program, either amounts or size or numbers, but that's a future consideration for council. But that's also going to be at a future workshop. So all that we're doing right now is presenting the information to council for their consideration, and we'll set a workshop date that's amenable to council. We'll contact individual council members so that to clear their calendars. Once we have a consolidated date, we'll publish that date so that the public can participate in that workshop.
Okay, question for Jim or Bill. Do you see a reason we just don't adopt the county's codes and then add on or detract?
No, sir. We actually took my staff, code compliance, zoning, building officials, we took the various codes and reviewed them and looked at the locality and came up with this code. There's not a lot of changes, but it's a softer version, if you will. You know, we don't want to put anyone out of business. We don't want to stop anyone from leasing their house or anything such as that. But this is just so that you know, let me read our mission statement. It says, all buildings and structures, both existing and new, shall be maintained in a safe, structurally sound, and sanitary condition. That's basically what we're looking for.
Okay.
We could certainly take, as part of the workshop, we can take any one. We use Newport Richey's also because our code compliance officer is recently from there, and she has 30 years experience in it. So we could use theirs, although we also elected to use the counties and put them together, and they came up with this one.
So this is
a hybrid from those, that's correct.
Okay. You guys?
Can I comment?
Yes, please.
Does everybody know what a minimum housing standards are? Don't be shy.
No.
They got it?
No.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Okay, some cities have them, some cities don't. No, you can't do it in its present form. It's a hodgepodge. I mean, I could change it to make it work. There's some things that conflict because someone took a little bit from here and a little bit from there. Some says only the owner's responsible, some says the tenant. when you take two pieces from different pies, sometimes it's shred, but, so the answer is you can't pass this in its present form.
The one that I have.
Yes, I mean, you can
Okay.
see it's Pasco, Newport Richie, some came from somewhere, I don't know, I went through each
Let
line
me
to
ask
see where
you
it
this.
came from. But getting to the point, so in other words, you can't pass it like this, but I could fix it, you understand, and make it work. There's Mr. Muse was saying, there's a lot you can do. You can go all the way from a lot of things to less things, okay? Make it more stringent and less stringent. And I think what Mr. Muse is saying, and I agree with him, is you want to see if this is how stringent you want to be, okay? And so this is kind of mild, Bill, would you?
Yes,
It's
yes.
kind of mild. In other words, by mild is you can get into a lot more detail. I mean, right now, there's a ripped screen. You give somebody a ticket for a ripped screen, they're gonna tell you there's 12 other ripped screens, and this is mild, okay? So you need to.
And this is not an HOA type town either.
Now you
Correct.
got it.
No, that's
So I
correct.
guess my point is,
So-
Bill and we
I
don't want to be
live in one, yes.
responsible
Right.
for making those
I don't
decisions.
blame
So
you.
I think council needs to read it, take
Yep.
a look. That's our recommendation.
Nope.
I have read
So
it.
we're gonna
but-
do a
Not that you gotta do it, whether you wanna do it in a workshop or
Right.
not, but you might wanna really read these.
No, but my
And they're
other-
not really stringent, I consider them mild too.
Jim, my other question, I guess, is if we just took Pasco County's in entirety, would it conflict with what, or would it be not appropriate for Port Richey?
I suspect
Well, you have
Pasco,
to, same question, you have to read it then, it's right here, I have a copy,
Wait.
see if it gets it, you can read Newport Richie's. My suggestion is read Newport Richie's, read Pasco County's,
Right.
get a feel for what you wanna regulate and what you don't.
but again, let me explain to you, we
don't
did
really-
do that. We took Pasco counties and read it and went through it and edited. This has been going on since probably June or July. We've been going
Correct.
back and forth through these things. This didn't just occur overnight. So this isn't just a hodgepodge type thing.
Right. So this is kind
let
of
me-
what you want, and Jim says it has to
It's just
be
gotta be cleaned up.
buffed and polished.
Yeah, but let me explain to you, we have nothing right now. It's like police chief not having an ordinance for speeding, so we cannot enforce the code.
We have no codes 'cause
Virtually
we-
every one of you have called me and asked me for something, and I've gone out and looked at it and said, we can't do anything about it, because we don't have a code that allows us to do anything about it. So that's what this is, and this is basically just a, take us into the new millennium, if you will. This will be here when we're gone. We need this, we don't have it now.
I agree with you.
And I'm assuming then you can put out the biggest problems, because you hear it all the
Oh,
time, and that would be
every
highlighted to
single
us
day.
because we don't know.
Every day.
But, okay, I think there's a lot of people in the city that would like to see this PDQ. I'm not sure if I totally understand. I guess Pasco counties would be inappropriate or
Correct.
too strict?
Stringent.
Too stringent.
A bit of both, yes.
Boy, it doesn't look all that pretty. Okay. Jim,
One other thing,
please.
I think
give us
something that-
protocol.
You can read both of these, but it's not just, staff wants you to go through and put you through going through the list, but, once you do this, people are gonna get fined for these things, and I think it's important that you see every item. But number two is, another issue from a legal perspective that I think needs to be discussed is, keep this in mind, if you're a landlord, tenants are gonna call up. You're gonna say,
Yeah.
hey, my screen's not working right. And they go, right here, screen's not just working right, call up, and then you're gonna lien the landlord. Now, landlord's gonna say, well, the tenant won't let me in, and then those kind of things. Now, we can work on those, but it's strict law. You have so many, let's put time in, you got 90 days to evict your tenant because they're not doing it and stuff. This is serious business. It's not as simple as you see something bad out there and you wanna fix it. Do you wanna go after landlords as well as tenants?
Well, I'm
You see,
perfectly,
these are the
I
issues
totally
that
agree
you
with you.
decide. Yeah, these are things, I'm not saying I wanna do it either way, but it's important.
Okay, I agree with you totally. Do we want to have a workshop, or you and Bill want to compile something?
We're up to policy.
Like this.
It's what you want. This is how we're looking at it. We'll go over each item. It won't take long, right?
Yes. It's your call.
Well,
You do what you like.
I would think that going over each item, putting it in legal form, having a workshop to see if there's anything that just drastically got left out, and getting it done. I'm just, a little impatient about getting stuff done.
The workshop would give the public an opportunity to come in, and I think that
That's a
is
good idea.
extremely
Yeah.
important, that they come in and
Yeah.
have their input.
Okay, so, my understanding, council, we would task Jim and Bill to put what you think is in a reasonable
No,
form?
we've already done that.
Oh, you've
Yeah.
done
We
that,
wanna-
so just
we
have
wanna-
a.
I can put it into a legal form. This is easier to read than what it's gonna look like when I'm done. You understand?
let's
It's gonna
keep-
look like this when
Pretty
I'm
good.
done. This is easier.
Okay, so
I
in
prefer
other
the
words, this
Reader's
just has
Digest
to be
Right.
condensed version.
Yeah.
legalized.
Yeah, you'll go.
Okay,
And then we'll set up a workshop to review with public.
Correct.
And then at that time, we can
And then I can
make our
change it to make it
decisions.
right.
Correct.
all right.
Illegal.
So,
Then, You
do
don't need
you
a
want,
motion
are
for
you gonna
that.
do the legal changes first? We're gonna start with this and go
No.
to
We're
the,
gonna do a
Start with this.
workshop. and
start with this, okay.
This is easier.
When are we
easier
gonna
to
have the
read.
workshop?
As soon as you have, we'll contact you, we'll see your calendars are available, and it's the first time that it's earliest possible convenience, we'll set up the workshop and then notify the public.
Okay? Do I need a motion or a second? or anything?
No, not really, no.
All right, we've all agreed on that?
yes.
The resolution.
We are at
Next item.
Resolution 1806, texting and driving. If we're not on the same page on this one,
I think we are on the same
Thoughts?
page on this one.
yeah, go ahead.
Motion to approve
Okay.
18-02.
Yeah, I think it's already
Thank
been
you.
voted on. I was just gonna
Yeah.
read it. I don't know why it was at an agenda. It should have been in front.
It says motion
You voted on it
approved.
last time, right?
No, I
Yes.
thought we just motioned.
I think we did.
I think you did vote. I'll read it anyway.
Yep.
Resolution number 1802, and remember, this is the resolution that this council supports the idea that not texting while driving should be a primary traffic offense. Resolution of the City of Port Richey urging that the Florida legislature to enact legislations that would make texting while driving a primary offense, providing for severability, providing for a repeal, or providing for an effective date. And pretty much, I read now therefore resolved by the City of Port Richey. City Council urges the Florida legislature to enact legislation that would make texting while driving a primary offense. City Council hereby directs the city clerk to transmit a certified copy of this resolution to the Governor of Florida, President of the Florida Senate, Speaker of the House of Representatives, and the Pasco County State Legislative Delegation. They're in session now. That's pretty much what it says.
Right.
We voted on it before, so unless you have a change of heart,
Need a motion?
clerk will have you sign that, and she'll send the letters out.
No, you just have to sign it, sir.
Yeah,
We don't
we're
have
good.
to
We're done.
That's it, I just read it, it was just, we
Yeah.
voted
Could
on
we
it
add,
last time.
no makeup, not putting on makeup, drive
As a
while
secondary
eating
offense
and-
only, that'd be a secondary offense.
Yeah, my only
I'm-
question on that is now that we have.
Well, now that you
rules-
can, I think they can do something about it. Isn't that what this does?
That's
Jim?
correct.
I'm sorry?
This moves it
Yes.
into where the police can
They
act
can't,
on it.
now they can stop them actually for it, I believe. Before it was secondary, right? You have to have a first offense to stop. Right.
You need a primary reason to stop them other than the texting. They could literally drive right by us texting and we can't stop.
Now.
Yes,
But After
correct.
this, you can stop.
Right.
Because
If this passes, we could stop them for the texting.
the statistics are alarming
Oh,
at the
yeah.
deaths, particularly in
Absolutely.
kids. We need to do this, okay?
My
Everybody's in
question
agreement,
is
or
a
we do it by
technicality, and that is texting versus verbal texting. Are they considered the same thing? Because you're not pushing buttons, you are talking to the phone.
I think that would pass, I'm not sure.
I think that's considered hands-free.
That's-
It's like-
yeah.
Hands-free is
I haven't read the
okay.
whole legislation, but right now it sounds like it's the texting. The using your fingers to
With
text.
fingers,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, they're gonna have to make that definition, because there is a.
Oh, yeah,
I
there-
don't do that well, so I talk to my phone and.
I've got new admiration for, I saw a lady the other day eating an ice cream cone, texting, and putting on her makeup while driving with her knee. It's incredible. Okay, we are in agreement. Do we have to have a motion?
No, you voted on it last
We got, we're good.
One other
We're up.
item.
Old business.
Yeah, one other item before going to old business, which is really part of old business. I've distributed to you copies of the Florida City and County opioid litigation for your review.
Where is that?
I believe that they're moving forward in the county, and we may already be involved with it in the county with respect to that, but we're waiting for a resolution, I believe, to be presented by Mr. Lucas.
Yes.
Mr. Luke,
No, they're waiting to hear from us.
they're waiting, they're waiting to hear from us. Just to add more information to that, Mr. Lupo, there's 3 other companies in the United States that do it. I know that Pasco County, I believe, had either interviewed or gone through all three companies. I think a week or two ago it was in the paper that they hired Lucas's, but your choice is, I don't even know if we're a pretty small city, whether they'd entertain doing a city this small, but your choice is you can proceed ahead with this. If that's what you want to do, you would give consensus or vote to have Mr. Lupo request from Mr. Lucas a copy of the contract so we can take a look at it, see what our obligation is. And, or try to call the other ones in, see if you want to do that. So those are your choices.
Correct.
Either call them in for a contract if you like it, or you want to do a little more shopping, that you see the other, there's three other firms, I think. Those are council's choice.
Yeah, yeah, if you just give me your consensus that to move forward with this, we'll go with Lucas and get it over with.
Class
I think
action
so.
suit that makes nobody money but a
Right.
lawyer.
Right.
Jim knows this staff, and I think we're.
No, I mean, if you read this, they're going after people with deep pockets who
Right.
don't
It's a
give
class
one
action.
pill to a civilian or
Yeah.
anybody in the population.
Okay.
The doctors have no money,
When-
so that's
when
why
did you
they're
get a
going
chance to
after
read this?
pharmaceutical. I looked it up online.
Okay,
You
I
can find
haven't
all
seen
this-
it yet,
all
so I have
that.
nothing
This is
to
just
say.
a-
This is just a civil suit.
This is a money grab is all it
This
is.
That
is
is
a
exactly
bunch
what
of
it
lawyers
is.
getting
And-
together,
and we're
trying to
not gonna
figure out
get-
how to put their kids through
Zip.
college.
Well,
25% they want. They're talking of billions of dollars here.
My suggestion that they go back to the pharmacies, get legislation, get a program put into their computers that works at that level. Then you fix
There
the
you go.
problem.
There you are.
This
It's a money
is
grab.
cash
That's
cow
all
for
it
the
is.
lawyers.
I have to tell you,
You know, if it fixed the problem, I'd be all
No
over
way.
it. It does not fix the problem. It puts money into people
We can,
and
we
leaves
can,
the
we can
problem
talk about it
rampant.
later, but that's,
Right.
after I read a little bit more,
I haven't
but
read
this
it
is
all.
nothing but,
This is a
think-
We won't
crisis
have
and we
anything-
need to fix
We won't
it.
have anything to
What's
gain
it?
or lose with it.
well, you might
You
gain.
don't need to
You might
Okay.
gain. Although I have one file at my office I kept.
not,
Do you remember MPI? I think it was MPI, a big telephone
couple
company.
100,000 at the max.
Went under. They said, "You want to join the lawsuit?" I joined the lawsuit.
Yeah,
I got a check for 1 penny.
that's my point.
Did
It
it
cost
make
them
your
39
budget-
cents at the
your
time.
budget that much?
I need direction, council, if you want me to move forward.
No,
with-
we're gonna,
No.
we're gonna table this till we have more time to
Fine,
review.
that's fine.
So we'll bring it up on the next agenda.
Sure. We'll put it
Okay,
on the
don't
next
forget
agenda.
to do that. I haven't read it, so I don't know, but I'm not for the opioids. Any other thoughts or questions before? Oh, Bill, do you have time for the appendix lesson after the? I'm gonna show you how to call an X-ray company and how to do appendix. Okay. Last thoughts.
Old business.
Old business.
Oh, business is back.
Business is back. Last December, Mrs. Spalding brought up that she wanted to talk about the boat parking situation, and we haven't discussed that. Can we have a workshop, or do we need to have some kind of action on that?
I think that's so far in the future.
Or how about in the agenda? Maybe just to have it on the agenda
You're talking about boat parking in
What?
people's driveways.
in driveways, since
Oh.
it's what she brought up.
Well, I think we have eased that because my thought, and she agrees, is after we're done with the DMMA site, we're gonna probably do parking of boats, correct?
Correct.
If the council agrees with me, we'll allow a certain amount of people from Port Ritchie, and I don't think there'll be a lot, to park their boats there for free. So we don't have them in
DMMA
the.
site?
I'm sorry?
In
Oh, boy.
the DMMA site?
Yes, after it's done and level.
You,
That's what we had planned was
this
to.
issue can also be brought up during the workshop
workshop,
on
yes.
minimum housing.
Zoning.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. So we can bring it up when we do the minimum housing,
Yes.
we can talk about boats.
Correct.
Right. And if you were here 20 years ago, Sanford didn't sign. We don't want to go back.
No.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?